Lillahi ta'ala. He said, is it just a review today? Inshallah, I want to start reading this explanation here, but it's going to be a review because we covered the whole matan. And this explanation is nice. I like it more than Zurqani's explanation. Sheikh Sami gave me an ijazah in this book here that we're going to read. And let's get started. We'll see if we can cover what I'd like to cover, inshallah. So, we're going to start reading, inshallah, this sharh, this explanation of al-Bayquniyah in hadith terminology. We still have a goal that we are trying to reach, which is we want to start Alfiyatul Iraqi, the millennial poem, the 1,000-lined poem of Al-Iraqi in the hadith science. May Allah enable us. Ameen. So we're still just warming up to it, because just the number 1,000 should let you know that if we embark on that, then that's some heavy stuff. It's going to be a review for me. MashaAllah. Let's read this one, or some of it. There's some parts I'm going to skip, inshaAllah ta'ala, as review for what we've already taken, adding also to what we took in Nukhbatul Fikr. And without further ado, so the name of this book is Al-Minhatul Rabbaniyah. Al-Minha. Al-Minhatul Rabbaniyah. A minha is atiyah, it's a gift or giving. And al-Rabbaniyah means basically divine. One might even say godly. And so this is not blasphemy, so relax. So it means basically the divine gift, as if to say a gift from God. شرح المنظومة البيقونية. It's an explanation for the Bayquni poem. تأليف الشيخ محمد بن العلامة الشهير المحدث الكبير الشيخ محمد سراج بن الشيخ محمد سعيد الجبرتي Hafidhahullah wa qawwa. So this is a book that's by Sheikh Muhammad Siraj al-Jabarti. Sheikh Muhammad Siraj al-Jabarti is one of the sheikhs of our sheikh, rahimahullah. That is, he is an Abyssinian scholar. So, let's get right to business. We're going to skip the introduction here. He has an introduction about the definition of the hadith science. So, one of the things you should know is that they say ilmul hadith, and they mean this science of hadith that we are discussing called mustalah. And in this ilm of hadith, they talk about different kinds of hadiths, as you know. And sometimes they talk about something as if it's a kind of hadith, not really a kind of hadith. Rather, they call it an ilm, or they call it a fen. And what it is like a topic. It's like a subtopic in the hadith science, such as knowing the cases of same name, different people. Or different names, same writing, different names, same letters. Knowing these cases, it's not a kind of hadith per se. It is a subject in the science of hadith. So this poem here, it is a poem. It is some lines of poetry that deal with numerous aspects of hadith science, including kinds of hadiths and hadith topics. Kinds of hadiths and hadith topics. You'll see, inshallah. And if you review, you'll see what we've already covered. قال الشارح الزرقاني. The explainer Az-Zurqani, the Maliki, the one who we were looking at his explanation, but we didn't read it really, just a few things out of it. That's the one that we took. Yani, I took it and others took it. That's the standard one that's taken, that explanation of Az-Zurqani for Al-Bayquniyah. What did he say? وأراد بالأقسام ما يشمل الأنواع المندرجة تحت الأقسام وإلا فأقسام الحديث لا تخرج عن ثلاثة صحيح وحسن وضعيف. He said, what the author meant when he said types, أقسام وذي من أقسام الحديث عدة. These are some of the divisions of hadith, of ilm al-hadith, yani kinds of hadith and topics of hadith, idda, counted. As Zurqani said, what he means by the aqsam, the divisions or categories, is what includes subcategories. What he means by categories is also subcategories. Subcategories. Yani, or if you want to say divisions. What he means by divisions of hadiths is also subdivisions. Meaning, there are fundamental divisions of hadith. As Zurqani says, really, there's not more than three categories: Sahih, Hasan, and Da'if. Authentic hadith, fair hadith, and weak hadith. Or, if you want, sound hadith, fair hadith, and weak hadith. As Zurqani is saying, really, there's only three kinds. So this author, he has so many kinds. How many kinds? There's only three. So when he said, وَذِي مِنَ قُسَامِ الْحَدِيثِ عِدَّةً, these are numerous kinds of hadith. He means to include subdivisions. It's like he's calling the fundamental divisions categories, and the subdivisions are also categories. So let me know if that's not clear for you.
I have a question.
Yes.
Are he grouping the subcategories with the three main categories, let's say? I always use a phrase. Is that what he's doing?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what Az-Zurqani is saying.
Yeah.
Az-Zurqani, who is one of the explainers of Al-Bayquniyah, he is saying, when the author said, وَذِي مِنَ قُسَامِ الْحَدِيثِ عِدَّةً, these are some of the divisions of hadith numbered. That when he says some of the divisions, so he's just using one word, divisions.
Mm-hmm.
So then it would give you the impression that each category he mentions is an independent division. But it's not the case. Some of them are subdivisions, subcategories that come under other categories. They're not all independent divisions. Yani, he mentions here, according to this explainer, Muhammad Siraj al-Jabarti, there's 32 kinds mentioned. And Zurqani, as I remember, he said there's 34 kinds mentioned in the text. So we can go back and count them and see for ourselves, inshallah. So 32 kinds or 34 kinds, that's really that many kinds? So as Zurqani said, no, it's not really that many kinds. Some of those are subdivisions. And he's saying, really, there's three kinds. Sound, fair, and weak. Anything else is subdivision.
I understand that part now.
Intaha, end quote. Yani, that's the end of the quote of Az-Zurqani. أولها أي أول تلك الأقسام. The first of them, meaning the first of those divisions, the divisions that the author did not differentiate between the main divisions and the subdivisions. is as-sahih bidatihi, is the sound hadith, the independently, excuse me, the independently sound hadith. وشروطه خمسة. This independently sound hadith, its conditions are 5. ذكرها بقوله. The author mentioned them. Al-Bayquni mentioned them by saying, وهو ما اتصل إسناده. It is what has, or it is that which its chain connected. ما اتصل إسناده أي الحديث الذي اتصل إسناده. It is that which its chain connected. أي رجاله, meaning the narrators of the chain were continuous. No one was missing. قال في توجيه النظر. The author of توجيه النظر said, والإسناد مصدر من قولك أسندت الحديث or أسندت الحديث إلى قائله. So now he wants to explain what isnad means. Wants to explain more. Isnad is a source noun. From, if you were to say, أسندت الحديث إلى قائله. If you were to say that in Arabic, أسندت الحديث إلى قائله. It would mean I related the statement back to the one who said it. I referenced the statement back to, I cited my source is basically what it means. As if it means I cited my source for the statement. أسندت الحديث إلى قائله. I cited my source for the statement. لكونه مصدرا لا يثنى ولا يجمع وكثيرا ما يراد به السند فيثنى ويجمع. Okay. So this word isnad, for your information, just now you're going to take some extra information about this word in Arabic. This word isnad, it's a source noun. And when it means citing your source, then you will not make it dual or plural. You don't dualize it or pluralize it. When it means citing your source, you don't dualize it or pluralize it. وكثيرا ما يراد به السند فيثنى ويجمع. تقول هذا حديث له إسنادان وهذا حديث له أسانيد. And often, so this is a nice detail here. Often you say isnad and you mean the chain of narration. So what am I saying here? There's two different things being referenced here by the word isnad. So if I ask you, what's isnad, you're going to tell me chain of narration. Okay, now take more. Sometimes you say isnad and you mean basically to say from fulan, from fulan, from fulan, from fulan, like that. To spell it all the way out. From fulan, from fulan. And sometimes you say isnad and you mean chain of narration just in a broad sense. Not with the meaning of relating, not with the meaning of citing your source, each one Each one is citing his source one by one. None of the meaning of each one citing his source one by one. So that's two different meanings. The difference between these two meanings is a fine difference. So make that difference for yourself. The isnad, sometimes isnad means citing your source with the meaning of saying out the whole chain from fulan, from fulan, from fulan. So when you say it this way, then you're not going to use it in a dual form or a plural form. But sometimes you mean not this way, you mean the chain of narration, abstractly. Then you could say isnadan, two chains, two isnads, asanid, several isnads. وأما السند فهو ما استندت إليه من جدار وغيره أو ما استندت إليه من جدار وغيره. So that's the word isnad. The word isnad. Why we just took this time to talk about the word isnad? Because it's mentioned in the text. The author said, أولها الصحيح وهو ما اتصل إسناده. The first kind of hadith is the sound one. And that's the one that its isnad was connected. Now we just took a little bit deeper dive into the meaning of isnad. وَأَمَّا السَّنَد, but then there's another word. The other word is sanad. So you have the word isnad, and you have the word sanad. وَأَمَّا السَّنَد فَهُوَ مَا اسْتَنَدْتَ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ جِدَارٍ وَغَيْرِهِ. As for the sanad, that's something that you leaned against. That is something that you leaned on it. You leaned against it, such as a wall or something else. وَهُوَ فِي الْعُرْفِ طَرِيقُ مَتْنِ الْحَدِيثِ. And usually, for these scholars, the usual meaning of sanad is the pathway of the text of a hadith. The pathway of the text of a hadith. وسمي سندا لاعتماد الحفاظ عليه في وسمي سندا لاعتماد الحفاظ عليه. And the reason why this pathway for the text of the hadith was called a sanad is because the hadith headmasters rely on it. They lean on it because the hadith headmasters lean on it for the authenticity of the hadith. في صحة الحديث وضعفه, for determining the soundness of the hadith or its weakness. فهو يثنى ولا يجمع. And in that way, if you do it that way, you can use it in a dual form, but not a plural form. تقول هذا حديث له سندان ولا يقال هذا الحديث له أسناد بوزن أوتاد كأنه مستغنوا بجمع الإسناد بمعنى السند عن جمعه. انتهى بتصرف. So now also take a little bit more detail here about the word sanad in Arabic. Sanad refers to usually the pathway of the text of the hadith. And so that means also abstractly, not spelling the hadith, not citing one by one, abstractly referring to the chain of narration. So then you can take the Arabic word sanad and give it the dual form and say sanadan two. This hadith has two sanads, two chains of narration. But this particular word sanad, you don't make it plural in Arabic. So you use the singular form sanad. This hadith has a sanad, a chain of narration. And this hadith has sanadan, dual form, two chains of narration. And for the word sanad, you stop there. And you don't use a plural form from this word sanad, which would have been, had you used it, it would have been esnad. This, you don't say it. It's as if the hadith scholars decommissioned such a plural. Decommissioned it. Yani made it unused. They decommissioned the plural for sanad for the plural of isnad. They decommissioned the plural of sanad for the plural of isnad when you use the word isnad to mean sanad. So then you would say this hadith has asanid, asanid, asanid. So you can say this hadith has a sanad. And you can say this hadith has an isnad. And you can say, let me give myself more space here. You can say this hadith has a sanad. And you can say this hadith has an isnad. We're talking here about just the chain of narration abstractly, not citing each person one by one. This hadith has a sanad, chain of narration. This hadith has an isnad, chain of narration. You can say this hadith has sanadan, two chains of narration. And you can say this hadith has isnadan, two chains of narration. And you can say this hadith has asanid, numerous chains of narration, but you don't say asnad as the plural of sanad. So it's as if they decommissioned what would be the plural for sanad. Yani they didn't use it, and they just used only the plural of isnad when talking about the chain of narration. Do you have any question here? Very nice. Alhamdulillah. Sheikh Samir said, this science of mustalah, traditionally, who loves the science? Al-fuhul. Yani, the tough ones. Yani, those who are tough. But we don't here mean tough in fighting. We mean here tough mentally. They like this science. The strong-minded ones, he means. He said, but in this time, the care for this science has decreased greatly, which is very true. Yani, I find mustalah so fascinating. But I never cease to be surprised at the low numbers of people who watch, for example, the mustalah videos, or just for myself, my own channel, in comparison to other topics. So I don't know other channels. Maybe other people have high numbers for mustalah. اعلم أن الإسناد يطلق على حكاية طريق المتن يقال أسنده فلان أي قال حدثني فلان عن فلان إلى آخر السند. Now he's saying out clearly something that I was already saying to you. Know that the word isnad, al-isnad, it is used to refer to citing. Hikayah here, citing the way of the route, the pathway of the text. You call, it is said, Asnadahu fulan. Fulan cited his chain. I'll say it this way. That's how I'm going to translate this sentence here. Asnadahu fulan. Fulan cited his entire chain. Ay qala haddathani fulan an fulan ila akhiri sanad. Meaning, he said, Fulan told me from Fulan, etc. until the end of the chain. وقد يطلق على طريق المتن تقول على طريق المتن تقول إسناده صحيح تقول إسناده صحيح أي رجاله ورواته موثقون مقبولون. And it could also refer to the pathway of the metin, the mere pathway of the metin. So you say, Takulu isnaduhu sahih. You would say, its isnad is authentic. Meaning, its men and its narrators, we say men here means men and women, free or slave. رجاله أي رجاله ونساؤه, meaning its men and its narrators are verified and acceptable. So, in other words here, what he's saying is the word isnad can refer to, so his word isnad can refer to hikayatu tariq al-matan, and it can refer to merely tariq al-matan. That's what he just told us here. The word isnad can refer to hikayatu tariq al-matan, and it can refer to tariq al-matan. That means you say the word isnad, and sometimes you mean citing each narrator one by one. That's hikayatu tariq al-matan. Citing the chain, citing the people of the chain one by one. And sometimes you say isnad and you mean just the pathway of the text abstractly, yani as one thing. وَأَمَّا السَّنَدْ فَهُوَ طَرِيقُ الْمَتْنِ. But as for the sanad, sanad is in particular what? Number 2 here. طَرِيقُ الْمَتْنِ. The sanad is just the chain abstractly. وَقِيلَ السَّنَدُ مُرَادِفٌ لِلْإِسْنَادِ بِمَعْنَيَيْهِ. And it was said that sanad is exactly a synonym for isnad, and so it has both meanings. قَالَ السِّيُوطِيُّ فِي أَلْفِيَتِهِ. So I wrote all that in Arabic. I hope that's clear. Let me write it out here. So some say isnad. Isnad means citing the chain. And it also means merely the chain. So when I say citing the chain, means saying it one by one, everyone. So isnad can mean citing the chain, and isnad can mean just the chain, abstractly. And that the word sanad means in particular just the chain, not citing the chain. And it was said that the word sanad is exactly a synonym for isnad, and so it has both meanings. So that's 2 sayings for the word sanad. Well, according to what he has here, though, that's not 2 sayings for the word isnad, it's 2 sayings for the word sanad. قال السيوطي في الألفية والسند الإخبار عن طريق متن كالإسناد لدى الفريق. I'm stretching it like there's a ya there. He said the sanad is telling about the pathway of the text. So not citing it, just the pathway of the text. Sorry, it just started raining. I just wanted to make dua real quick. I ask Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala to bless those who are in attendance. Ya Allah, grant those who are in attendance of this lesson an accepted dua, and forgive them of their sins, Ya Rabbal Alameen, and make them beloved to the angels. Allahumma ameen. So let me just read this last line here. وَسَنَدُ الْإِخْبَارُ عَنْ طَرِيقِ مَتْنٍ كَالْإِسْنَادِ لَدَى الْفَرِيقِ. As-Suyuti said in his millennial poem, his 1,000-line poem in Hadith terminology, the sanad, so not isnad, but sanad, is telling about the pathway of the text, not citing it one by one. And then he says, Kalisnadi ladal fariqi, and it's like isnad according to, it has meaning, both meanings of isnad according to a group. The sanad is, its meaning is, so Asyuti is saying, as the sanad over here on the left side, sanad, its meaning is telling about the chain. And its meaning is like isnad according to a group, having both meanings of isnad. Wallahu alam. Allah knows best. So stop there. Subhanallah. May Allah have mercy on Shaykh Muhammad Siraj al-Jabarti. I like his work. Subhanallah. Do you have any question I can answer for you? Yes. Wa alaikum assalam.
One second. Why does it seem like he gave two different meanings? Why is there the definition of sanad Suyuti?
Why would they give two different definitions for sanad?
Yes.
What's likely is the case is that this is something that was found. That they found amongst the scholars those who said sanad means this. And amongst them are those who said sanad means this. So if you look and see what did some of them say, they were saying some of it means the chain. I mean, some of them said sanad means the chain, and some of them were saying sanad means like isnad with its two meanings. And then, the way that usually goes is that there would be scholars who would come and try to determine which saying is stronger. And when you see something like this, the way it's presented here as if sanad does really mean just the chain. But some said it has both meanings of isnad. So the way it's presented gives you the impression that the author gives weight to the saying that sanad, it means the chain in particular. It does not have really both meanings of isnad.
When you say the chain, I mean the names of the people?
Yes. Okay. Even if you don't know the names of the people, though, like if you say this hadith has an authentic chain, you would say this hadith lahu sanadun sahih. It has authentic or sound chain. Or lahu sanadan. It has two authentic chains. Or lahu, or just two chains. Lahu sanadan. It has two chains. So it means even if you don't know the names per se, we're just saying like abstractly, two chains.
I have another question, but I'm gonna wait because I'm gonna see if you're gonna cover this in the next comment.
Okay.
Barakallahu feek.
I mean, we'll see. Any other question?